So I just got done watching Oprah's interview with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. I thought it was really interesting, and I've got a lot of thoughts. And so I want to sort of bucket them in two categories. One is the more fun category, which is what I thought of Meghan, and I have some things to complain about, and what I thought of Prince Harry, also things to complain about. That's the sort of the fun bucket, but the more serious bucket is what do I think about the decision to leave the royal family and the actions they took. And on that front, I think they did the right thing. I believe they should be supported. I think that they experienced kind of from every angle the psychological and physical distress that someone experiences in an abusive relationship, right? And to leave that relationship when it's one that Prince Harry has been in his entire life, with all the tabloids watching, with all the people around them saying, oh my God, you're so lucky, look how much money you have, right? With all of that pressure, the decision and the sort of the personal agency to leave that and go out on your own, I think is really impressive. And I think it says a lot about them. And I also think it says a lot about the royal family, especially the race piece. I was shocked at the conversations that happened sort of, I don't know if it happened directly with Meghan, but it happened through Prince Harry about the color of their son's skin and that he maybe couldn't become a prince and he wouldn't get the same security detail. I was shocked by that, and so like kind of on a serious note, it's concerning. I thought that Oprah covered it really well, and I think it's important. So like I want to say I agree with all of that. So let that be known. The more fun bucket is, let's just talk about Meghan. And so first of all, I was watching it and I turned to my wife and I said, I feel like if I gave her a personality assessment before she joined the family, I could have avoided all of this. She is, from a personality standpoint, a terrible fit, in my estimation, to join the royal family. She is someone that is used to freedom, has a tremendous sense of independence, someone who has a great sense of personal agency, someone who has shown herself to be quite resilient. She's made it in Hollywood. She's financially independent. All of these things, it's been on her shoulders, and I think that she thrives in that environment. And then you take her and say, go join this family, and you have to do everything we tell you. You can't go get a cup of coffee without us monitoring you. Let's see how happy you're going to be, right? It's just not a good fit for the role. So that's the first thing. Also, I would say that she came across to me as a little bit performative. There were just things that annoyed me. It's not here nor there, but just like at the very start of the show, she's introducing her chickens and her dog, and of course the chickens come from a slaughterhouse, and the dog comes from a kill shelter, and Prince Harry saved him right before he was euthanized. It's like this. It's just like this a little bit over the top. I thought she was very polished, and for me, felt a little bit too polished. An example of that was when she was talking about experiencing suicidal ideation, which, by the way, I was happy she mentioned. I was happy that she was transparent in how she described that. I've complained on YouTube before about how people in positions of power or authority are kind of reluctant to talk about that, and I think it's important for people to see that at all levels, kind of in the social hierarchy, people experience it. So good on her. And there was some incongruence in how she was describing that, right? She said she was at a play or whatever, and she's weeping in the balcony, and she's asking everybody within the monarchy to help her. How do I get support? Can I get taken care of in some way? And everybody's saying, mum's the word, be quiet. We feel for you. We know you're experiencing it, but we kind of can't do anything. And then when Prince Harry joins, he says, I didn't talk to anybody about it. We can't talk about, our family doesn't talk about that. Right. So there's a little bit of a disconnect because Meghan's sort of pitching it like she was screaming for help. And I don't know really how transparent she was. So there's just kind of that flavor of her, which felt like I just wonder how much I wonder how many times there were things that she took more personally, or how many times she was more sensitive than maybe someone in her position would need to be. I wonder if the paparazzi got to her more than maybe someone in her position than it would need to for someone in her position. You know what I mean? So she was obviously in the spotlight like she'd never been before, and I don't know that she adjusted to it well. Obviously she adjusted to it well when it was positive, but I don't know that she did so when it was negative. She just seemed a little bit whiny. I don't know how to say it. She just seemed whiny to me. So that's Meghan. Prince Harry, I thought he was fantastic as a father and a husband. I was impressed. I am impressed with his decision to leave his family and take care of his wife and kid. I think I'm genuinely super impressed with it. And I am worried that he is going to resent her in the future. You know, right now, I think the sort of cognitive dissonance for him is, you know, behaviorally, he made a huge decision to leave everything behind. He lost his ranking, lost his security, he got cut off from the royal family. I mean, his life, for kind of all intents and purposes, is destroyed on that end. And he has to convince himself, I did this for a good reason. And I think he did. But he has to convince himself of that. And so he is totally bought into, at this point in his life, into his family and into Meghan and into how much he loves being with her. Part of me worries when the stress dies down, when the cameras go away, when things slow down and the kids are 5 and 8 or whatever, if he's going to sort of look at that and go, you know what, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was, or you know what, she was being too sensitive, and or you know, I don't quite agree. I don't know. I worry that he's going to have some sadness around, more sadness than he is now. Some sadness and loneliness over the fact that he's lost his relationship with his dad. I think in many ways lost the relationship with his brother. That I can just tell you that's a lot for him, and I just worry that in the future he's going to struggle with it. And the last thing I wanted to mention, which I thought was sort of laughable, was the description of how they exited the family, right? It was this big decision that he'd been talking about with his grandmother for 2 years. He leaves the family and he did everything right. Like it was their job to be as respectful and polished and leave that institution standing as it was. And then was no one going like, well, then why are you on Oprah right now? You're on Oprah airing out all of your dirty laundry, all of their dirty laundry, and apparently you didn't make any money for it. So besides you being resentful at how you're being treated, besides you trying to directly change the way they're functioning, I can't think of a reason to do it. So it just, again, didn't feel quite sincere to me. I would love to know what you think. In the comments, let me know what you thought of the interview and what you thought of Meghan and Prince Harry. Thanks.